last time on the Empire's Edge.
Finish your food, break your camp,
and start heading to the Horseshoe.
Maybe there's something about the water itself that's helping them grow.
You're getting a magical detection there. Each one of you being spellcasters, you know that you could wield it better in this place.
The SkyServants are angelic beings that bond with the abbots in a way like familiars.
So right now it is open with none of them glowing.
That's correct.
How would we close it? I don't even know how we opened it.
I touched the Argolian sword to the pedestal.
The moment you do that, Boris, everything inside this room changes. A sound above you, like something zipping down a line, and as you look up, you can see that there are large spiders coming down toward you. You look up, and these spiders, they're pony-sized, coming down on lines. They look almost as rippling and translucent as the tower walls itself. And there's not just one or two, there are 7 of them. The same number as the niches that are lining the walls to this place, coming down toward you.
You said they were translucent like the water? The spiders were?
Like the walls.
The walls of that tower
that
that
appeared
okay.
the moment that Boris touched the sword to the pedestal. You can see, and as you're looking up at these things coming down, you can see a tower. What you're actually seeing is the distortion of the trees and the air and the clouds above as you're looking through what is tantamount to an invisible tower above your heads.
We don't mean any harm, I shout. Do we get any reaction? Do they do anything?
No reaction, but they do slow their descent as they come closer to where you are. And 4 of them, they keep their legs like tighter into themselves, the same way they were coming down. 3 of them, the ones right above you, have their legs opened, and they're like coming even slower and slower, but they're coming right down on top of you.
Are they descending by?
I'm going to move towards a niche, one of the niches.
Okay, so as you
Nietzsche?
do,
What's a philosopher doing here?
Zelen, as you do that, you're very aware.
He was a spellcaster.
I'm sure as you're walking, that you're still looking up as you're going, right. And you can see that it isn't like it's swaying; it is just tracking with you.
It's tracking.
As though it's coming down to you.
What are they descending on? Are they like coming down by a web, or are they walking down the walls?
Very difficult to see, but it must be a web, must be a line that they're just coming right down.
Boris, does your sword feel weird?
Can I perceive anything? Like, do they look like threatening translucent giant spiders, or do they look like friendly translucent giant spiders?
They look very threatening at the moment because they're just coming down on top of you. But in the same way, they don't seem as though they're set for a defense. They're not coming down like they're claws are out ready to attack. They're coming down like they're like
tucked up,
kind of tucked up until the 3 of them got close to you. The sword itself, it felt heavy in that moment as you touched it to the pedestal. It's obviously still in your hand again, but you do believe that this happening is a combination not just of the Argolian metal, but the blessing that's attached to it.
Right.
Go ahead and roll
religion to see if spiders are involved in my faith
your knowledge
somehow.
Religion to see if any of this makes sense to you.
I, Victor, would think this is really neat. I, Boris, given how we fought spiders not too long ago, right. Kill the thing. Yeah. Kill the glowy thing.
There's a little pea coming out of me right now.
Nat 19 for a 23 on religion.
Excellent, fantastic.
I know
very religious.
You believe that these things have been, in essence, summoned by the blessing that is in this Argolian steel. That they're correct and proper to this place, not as guardians, but they're almost here to do your bidding.
Whoa. So do you share that with us?
I do, yeah.
Can you tell the spider that's coming to me to not land on me?
I don't have to ask you to not.
What does Boris yell real fast? Stop. I think you're here to help. And at this point, they had slowed, when they were about 15 feet over your head, they had slowed to the point where they're coming down just another foot per second maybe, and they slowed even more than that. And they are almost right on top of you by the time you make these perceptions and then say stop. And they do come to a stop. And almost like a machine or a mechanism, their legs are closing as though they want to enfold you. That is each of you. The question is, do you let them?
Nice hug.
Yeah.
I
have so many jokes.
Hug.
Yeah, it's got 8 legs. Of course it's cuddlier.
He said something. He said they're nice. I'm not going to fight it.
They're agents of the temple. They belong here. I am just as surprised as all of you, but I don't think they intend to harm us. You're a druid. Shouldn't you be okay with crazy magic giant animals? Isn't that literally your shtick?
I'm generally kill them. I'm not sure how to do it.
Yeah, but humanoids, not.
Thank you for not
beasts.
hitting one of them with a dart immediately, though. That was
Thank
nice.
you. It was
Not just
I held
shotgunning the agents of the temple.
back. Okay.
But
So
she held one out in her hand and kind of flipped her elbow, and it goes zwack, and it goes right up.
I'm gonna fold my hands like over my heart.
Yeah, I'm going to sheath the sword so I don't accidentally stab it.
All right. And Jacob, you just said you're standing there waiting for it to
Welcoming
happen.
embrace.
Okay. Jacob holds his arms out wide. I shall
Does
hug
anyone
you
else
back.
get the feeling of the people up on top of the building when the aliens arrived in
Oh my gosh.
Independence
Day.
We love you. Boom. Are you there, Elvis? They do enfold their legs around each one of you, and it's at about the exact same time, though there's moments of difference to it. That, again, Zelen, she's putting her hands on her heart, and she's making faces and sticking out her tongue like, oh, wow, I can't believe a spider's doing this. And Boris is like, okay, I don't want to stab this thing. I feel like stabbing this thing, but I recognize this isn't the right thing to do.
I really, really want to.
And Jacob is like, I haven't been hugged in days.
Gentle embrace.
Do you
When
ever
those-
want to talk about your feelings, TN? No,
When
not really.
those-
I do. I know David. I'm sad. I know David.
As their legs close around you.
That got you.
It was another vine. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Figured. As they close around you, you're not sure if they become more corporeal, but you're more aware of them visibly. They seem as though they're a physical thing and not like a translucent thing. Or it could be that you yourself have entered into some other kind of a phase of some sort. And then before you have time to think, oh, this is really icky, you are being launched upwards.
Holy
So
crap.
these things are retracting on that line. And again, you're very aware of the sound of it too, almost that kind of like a zip line. And you're going up at an accelerated rate that in a moment you're at the tops of the trees outside. And then the next moment you are 100 feet in the air. And a moment after that, you are a couple of 100 feet in the air.
Intelligence check to invent base jumping
You want to go back down real fast too?
and live.
Suddenly I regret my decision to let it hug me.
Yeah, this seems like a tactical error because I'm not sure how fast they descend and whether or not spider leg hold man in armor when fall.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess.
Pony-sized spiders? Okay. Pony-sized spiders 300 feet above the Earth's surface? No.
And when you are way, way up in the air, and
Space spider.
it's about 200 feet up into the air, they decelerate, and it isn't like like the roller coasters came to a stop at the end of a ride. It's a little more gradual than that, but then it does come to a stop. And as it is slowing down to a stop, you perceive that the space around you, though still semi-visible, translucent, I guess makes more sense, you believe you're actually in a structure way up here in the air. And these things are still holding you as you're up in that space, up at the top of this.
Weird.
Are we able to move and
Look
walk around?
So, Jacob, as you start to like make those movements like you want to go, that spider, which now does not in any way look translucent, it looks like a massive spider.
I look down. Is there my body just lying on the floor, like
No.
300 feet beneath me?
No,
That'd be
yeah.
a perception
That's-
check.
Yeah, wait in there. You see this little thing.
Yeah, I really don't see it.
Yeah, you really. Yeah, that was a 19 nat. No, he really.
No, that was a 9 net.
Oh, I see.
You looked up.
I thought it was a 19. No, your corporeal bodies are up in this space. Your physical selves are up in this space. But the spiders themselves, and all 7 came back up. Just 4 of them were empty-legged. But as you're moving Jacob to like get out from this thing, it does let you go. But then as you start to like let go from this thing, it keeps one leg hooked onto you. That as you're moving, it's moving with you, and that leg stays in touch with you.
Gotcha. Am I walking on like clouds or something at this point?
You think you're walking on stone. It's like the clearest stone you've ever seen before. Go ahead and roll your nature check to see if you recognize what the stuff is. I'm assuming the other two of you are still just standing.
I'm going to see what happened to him for a minute.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for him to embrace the spirit of Ted and break the thing trying to explore it and then falls to his death.
10.
It seemed like it's rock, but you couldn't tell what kind with a roll of 10.
Jacob, does it feel secure?
It feels sturdy. Come on out. The water's fine.
All right, so I'm going to move from my spider and also begin to step away and explore the surface.
It's the same thing. As you're making what's tantamount to shrugging moves. As you're trying to push forward, it allows you, it opens up to let you move forward. But as you're doing that, it still does keep one of its legs hooked on you. And if you've taken just a step away, it's just stretched that one leg out. Are you walking any further away? The area, you're looking at this stone, and it looks to be about 50 feet in diameter. It's like a
Is there anything that I noticed to explore? Is there any? Are there any doorways, niches, any carvings on the walls?
Boxes full of magic equipment.
No boxes full of magical equipment.
Anything that I'm noticing?
Nothing inside the room and around it. What you really feel like you're in is in a watchtower. That it is very clear. You're seeing not just this stone in front of you. What you're really seeing is the Brimroar Hills. You're seeing just the landscape around you from a tremendous height and a tremendous view, or with a tremendous view.
We're looking around for a great gate and some complex to house a throne, potentially just an open throne itself.
So remember the first part of the poem, it said, bond as though grafted, go to the temple of the sky servant, we're in the sky, bond as though grafted while you remain. We are definitely grafted with this spider, so I don't think we want to necessarily lose this connection.
Yeah, I agree.
And then commune and allow your center to find its music in the chain.
In the faith, sky servants are a term referring to like angelic beings, agents of Uko. And grafting is a process wherein they bond with a particularly skilled abbot. I'm not sure it's quite that literal that this whole complex is the temple, and that bond as if grafted was that clarity of mind, of vision that we were experiencing when we were down there.
And that would make sense from what you saw down below, that probably not just the area around the pool itself or this phantom tower, this phasing tower, that any one of those portions are the temple of the sky servant. It could be a complex that covers acres and all of this, and this is one more element of that very place. But you do know you're looking for a particular place to restore the sky servant, or the sky servant's ability to dwell within this place.
So the next thing that it said was, the poem said, was to follow your heart to the gate of ages, which is at the seat of the throne of Endara.
No, the roots of the focus are at the seat of the throne of Endara. Right,
but it says follow your heart to the gates of ages. The roots lie at the seat of the throne of Endara. Is what the poem said. So, with this incredible clear vision that I can see, do I see anything? Is there any other part that's like lit up out there that this would?
There was that not really lit up, but when you were just saying that, when you were repeating to everyone else, well, this is what it said down below just a few minutes ago, and you said the gate of the ages, you felt pulled to the periphery of this building, like toward one of the walls. But then as you continue talking, you felt that draw, that pull lessened, and you were like, okay, I can just keep on talking. But then it did it again. When you said the throne of Endara, again, you felt like pulled in a moment, but it's as though your will alone isn't enough to draw you to whatever this is.
When I was just saying this to you guys, and if I just briefly concentrated on the gate of ages or the throne of Endara, I'm feeling a pull. What if all three of us focused on one of those, focused on the thought or the feeling of the gate of ages?
I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah, worth a shot.
All right, so you all do that. You're all thinking of gate of the ages, gate of the ages.
I'd say it out loud.
Okay.
Given Zelen kept speaking.
Okay, perfect.
Gate of the ages.
Me too.
And
samesies.
Okay, good. Yeah. So now you're all saying it, and I'm assuming repeating it like it's like a mantra, like a chant.
Like a mantra.
Yeah.
In rhythm. So.
And as you do just that, you are drawn toward one side of this tower, and without even thinking about why, you start walking toward that side of the tower, and in the back of your mind, you're aware that your spider has come with you, that it's maintaining its contact with you as you get to
one leg or the whole.
The whole spider comes with you, but it's just one leg is in touch with you. It's not stretched out or drawn. It's the whole spider's moving with you, but it maintains its contact with you.
I shall call him Jeremy.
Okay, so can we tell where the edge of the tower is? Can we tell when we have to?
Very clearly. It is actually a solid structure.
Oh, okay.
You are in a solid structure.
we're in a
Only
box.
Jacob was doing a kind of an examination of it when he first got up there. But you could still do that at some point if you wanted to. But there's a definite wall. You couldn't walk so far forward you're going to fall off of it. There's a wall. You're in a squat cylinder made of some kind of a clear stone.
Got it.
And as you're all concentrating, looking in this particular direction you're drawn toward, saying Gate of Ages, it's as though either your vision is magnified into a very focused area, or if someone had launched an arrow in a direction and your sight was adhered to the point of that arrow, it's being launched that way. It's zooming way in. And still, even from this thing way off in the distance, so far south and a little bit to the east, up into the mountain range on the edge of the Slagmark Desert, you can see what looks like a massive door. And from this distance, just trying to gauge size in the mountains itself, this door itself must be maybe 100, maybe 120 feet high, 90, maybe even 100 feet wide. This huge door, as though someone carved this right through one of the points of the mountain in the deep part of the range.
Now, I've been that far. Do I recognize seeing a gigantic door in the Slagmark Desert?
Or if nothing else, in the mountains before the Slagmark.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, landmarks to guide us there.
Yeah.
You have never been to that part, Jacob. You've gone due east from Gryan, and that has taken you to the edge of the mountain range. This is well to the south,
Gotcha.
So it's a different part of the mountains.
Is there a recognizable landmark near where that gate is that I could say, I can get us there, and then I can see from here what direction we need to travel in order to get to where that gate is?
You see two that you think you could follow, very reasonable, natural, what's the word I'm looking for? Landmarks. That either you could head east and go east almost to the edge of the Slagmark, just where the mountains start at that point, and then I recognize that peak, and from there it's that peak, the peaks that are here. I follow that line, and you could follow those mountains all the way south to that point, and you're pretty sure you could do that. Plus, the Slagmark just on the further east side would keep you from going any further east, so you just follow those mountains down. But then you see another route too. They'll be heading south from where you are right now. And it'd be a little less distinguishable to pick it up through the Brimroar, but you can see a series of 4 very particular peaks that falling toward those and then skirting them should put you on a southerly direction toward this massive, massive open doorway, this gate-looking thing in a mountain.
Gotcha.
So you're pretty sure you could pick up on either one of those landmarks to get you there.
I think that I might be able to get us that area. I conceivably can see a path for us getting there. There's
All right.
definitely a possible target.
So let's try the Throne of Endara. Let's do the same thing and try the Throne of Endara and
Agreed.
see how it lines up.
So even as you were you're focused, and Jacob very particularly is focused on, what landmarks can I pick up and see right here, that even when you're saying, hey, I have an idea, let's try another name, you already feel yourself starting to walk backwards without even like making the choice to. You are going backwards to the starting point in the middle of this room until you said, oh, let's do the same thing with the Throne of Endara. And once you said that, and Boris, you said, yeah, good idea. You're already trying to walk forward again. That
Okay.
you'll always be drawn back to the middle of this thing and going out.
Okay, yeah.
So
Throne of Endara.
let's do the
Throne
same
of
thing,
Endara.
Throne of Endara.
Yeah.
So as you do that, it takes you right to the exact same place as the Gate of the Ages. And it's focused on the gate of itself. But it doesn't get you any closer to it. It
Okay.
doesn't zoom in more. But it looks like the Throne of Endara is right through, like directly through, like threading the eye of a massive needle through the Gate of the Ages.
Okay. So obviously, so we must have to go through the gate in order to get
Makes sense that
to
it's
the next part.
Do you think it
So-
works for just this thing specific to this religion? Or like if we called out the name of anything in particular, would it lead us in that
Try it.
direction?
I don't know.
Gryan.
Well, okay.
Brian.
Brian.
As you're saying that, the name doesn't seem to resonate or have any meaning to whatever this place is. But you might try a name that's a much older name.
Why don't you two try
KFC.
Home. To see if you can pull on like an emotional resonance instead of like a temporal one.
Okay.
Home.
So I concentrate and focus on my home.
And I guess that home for you two, Jacob, would be the same thing.
Same in Grinders.
Are you thinking home as well?
No.
Okay, so keeping yourself neutral in that?
Yeah, trying to keep myself as kind of still and mentally quiet as
Okay, so with the two of you, it seems to move slower, proportionally to only having 2 wills involving this instead of 3. But it very slowly, your point of view turns as you realize you've walked to a different wall or a different, area of this cylinder, and you are now actually seeing Brian pretty up close.
Awesome.
Brian is not that far away. You can see very, very clear details like, okay, yeah, Jacob, there's your house. Zelen, there's your house right there.
Any particular details or just kind of life going on as usual?
Yeah, like life going on as usual.
And I see Mr. Morris Young. Did he make it to Brian?
Yes, he made it to Grind.
Good on him.
I'm so happy.
While we're here, do we want to check on the black stairs to see
I was
if the,
just thinking
see if the thing that ports in and out?
The black stair.
So we'll all focus on the black stair and see.
Yeah.
Just
as much
see
my
if
mental image
changed.
in the name.
Yeah.
All right. So, and as you chant that mantra a few times, you're drawn through it. You feel almost as though your view is not just like zooming in like it did on those, but because it's something maybe so down low to the ground and in proximity to you, you feel almost as though you're weaving through trees, as though you're weaving through like different narrow little valleys, and again you're so close to it that you do get a very, very close view of the stair itself. It's almost startling. It's looking through binoculars at something close. It's bizarre how close it actually is to you. It's that perspective that it's very, very close. And it looks just the way you remembered it. There's a little area of charred body parts.
Right, but I mean, it doesn't look like the thing that's been porting in has come in and
nothing's changed about
nothing's
how
been
we
disturbed, nothing.
Why don't you all roll an investigation roll just to see how much detail you could pick up on that?
Ooh, unnatural 20.
All right, thank God.
15.
With that unnatural 20, Jacob, you do note that up near the top, where the encounter happened with Olaf Lindquist, that as you're zoomed in right there and you're looking at it, you notice that there are 3 different patches of wilted moss in a circle that's about 3 feet in diameter.
Similar to the stuff that we saw at Grind where the guy faded into the ground.
Exactly.
So
it's exactly like
point
that.
that out. I said right there where we fought Olaf, you see the patches, the dead grass, the dead moss?
Like something just slightly off from the previous spot. But if that is the telltale of something gating in, it gated in here on 3 different occasions and then gated back out.
Okay.
Well, the enemy is aware.
Right.
Follow my lead on this. Show me what the black stair was.
That's interesting.
And concentrating there too, you get the image that there was a grand building around it. You get an idea there was a grand building around it. And you almost are able to pick up the translucent-like walls like what's supporting this tower right now, but it doesn't gel. It doesn't come to. Do you think the battery needs to get put back into this place for it to do
anything better? Yeah.
Anything better than what it's doing right now?
Well, that's a cool thing, if nothing else.
Cool.
Oh, very cool. Well, we've learned a lot. We have a destination in mind. How do we get out of here?
Wait a minute. I want to communicate or attempt to communicate with the spider. Here's my fear. If we leave this all open, anybody following us can get those same exact clues.
Just access the place.
Exactly. And
Good
and
point.
access this. I want to try to communicate with the spider and find out how do we close this back down again, that we're servants of Uko, but how do we close it?
That's why we have
protected
a druid.
from the enemy.
I never would have thought to talk to the translucent spiders. I wouldn't have thought that they were sentient.
So I'm going to attempt. I don't know if I can or not, but I'm going to attempt to communicate with them and express my concern for protecting this.
We
place.
did already see them react to you speaking to them before. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, even thinking at Zelen, even in that moment we were saying, I want to see if we can communicate to this spider that has a claw on my shoulder. Can this place be better protected? And even as you're saying that, you feel like the direction, like the mental suggestion to look down right now.
Okay, so I do.
And as you do, you can see that changing beneath you, what looked like just a hole that went into the ground and water flowing into it, it looks like it's been covered back over and that the water's flowing across the top of it the way that it was before.
Okay, excellent.
Now, you also have the idea that it's not as strong as what it could be. But if you want to engage in a more specific conversation, go ahead.
Should we re-enter the room and remove the symbols of direction? So if somebody with ill intent comes behind us, they don't know to go to the falls. They don't know about the throne. Should we try to get back into that room and remove those?
It's in all three of your own minds. You're hearing it in your own head. Overlapping voices, like 7 overlapping voices, say that the base of the tower does not control the tower. The base of the tower is a conduit to achieve the top of the tower and to commune with the SkyServant.
Okay. Would it harm you or the base of the tower or us if we tried to remove those directional words?
Removing those words would not change the tower. Removing those words would not change what would happen in the tower.
Can a servant of evil use the tower?
No, a servant of evil could not approach the top of the tower. The world would have to be shattered again for an evil to attain this place where you stand now. But there are again. There are only 3 of you. If there were 7, the voice would be stronger and the concealment would be greater. But
if we came back with 7 people.
Well, if we came back with 4 people.
Yeah. Us plus 4.
Yeah, that's what's been communicated.
Okay.
It says yes. It doesn't call it by name, but yes, Paladin, shattered again. The evil of Berfidian could again shatter this place again.
I'm just really worried about leaving those directional words there. We already, with the porting in and out, we know our enemy knows.
Well, they didn't know. We didn't know where the Gate of Ages was until after we came here.
But they might be able to find out. If we could get rid of the words Gate of Ages, they wouldn't even know where to go next.
I think this site is consecrated enough that it's protected from corruption.
Okay. Is there anything else we can do to strengthen to strengthen the protection here?
Return with 7.
Okay.
With 7 voices, the protections would be stronger.
Okay. All right.
How do we get down?
Descend.
And Boris is already going down.
Ah.
Okay. So I'll also descend.
And your Zellen's going down too. Really fast.
Descend slower.
Jacob's coming down slow.
Descend gently.
Slow.
And it does, yeah. So, and you find yourself again at the base of the tower. Now, terrifying moment as you're approaching what looks to be the surface of the water flowing over this area that you know the water's flowing down into now. It's like the ground's coming up really, really fast, and you have this moment of, oh, gee whiz, and then you go right through it, and you're down into that lower section again.
Ah, neat.
Oh, dang, I was hoping they were going to save us the swimming and leave us up top and then cover it back over.
No, the elevator only has one way off. And then you find yourself back in that room, and again, it was all 7 spiders came down. It wasn't just the 3 of you. When Jacob, the last one, came down, the other 4 came down with him. And then when you're down there, they release all of you, and then they go right back up. But you stop seeing them once they go through the ceiling.
All right, yeah.
Let's surface. Anything else down here?
No, nothing.
You know, we searched this one pretty well. We just have that giant wall of water. We just got to walk through it and swim back.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I really hope no one took our gear.
And again, with your constitutions being what they are and knowing where you're going, it's easy to swim back through, to come back out and come back up in the pool. Now, once you break the surface of the water and you're on the edge, you can see your gears right there, Jacob. Nobody messed with your stuff. You know, there was like a raccoon and a possum that's rooting for you. Dang it. There is no evidence of the tower visually that you could see when you were down
I was
inside the
about to
room.
ask.
Okay.
There's no rippling of air that if somebody else just happened to walk through here would see this distortion and think, what is that? That's not even there, too.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, what time of day is it? Can we start heading on the path that you saw?
We came up here hours after daybreak. We had just camped.
Yeah, so it's still morning. It's still fairly early.
So I would vote to start just moving towards the Gate of Ages.
Take a moment, get my bearings, know which direction is south towards the desert, and start moving, I think.
Do you agree, Boris?
I agree. Can you send word to your allies, the druid circle you encountered, about where we're going? They might be able to pass word from us to the Baron.
I can try. Do we want to see if they can come here with 4 voices? I mean, with 7 voices?
Well,
and strengthen this?
yeah.
You only ran into 4 of them, didn't you?
3 of them. You were the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they might know somebody.
I know a guy.
But that would also probably imply that you would have to be back here, too.
Right, and then, well, they need to know directions.
Yeah,
more
there'd be a lot of
specifically.
information there.
We need to pick
give
and
to the
guide
poor
people.
bluebird. Okay, so we'll just tell the bluebird, but
Yeah, that
the
we,
message is we're heading to the Gates of Ages.
No, we've found a source of power and are pursuing leads into the threat to Warland Barony.
That's a big message to give to my little bluebird friend.
I think it's reasonable.
You think that's
Yeah,
reasonable?
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, and vague enough that if it's somehow intercepted, they don't go, the bad guys go, oh, they're at the Gates of Ages, let's go.
Got it.
Picturing
Okay.
a bluebird zip tied to a chair, bright light in his face.
Medieval balloon.
Tell me what you know.
Tweet.
All right. So
They just
I
paid me to be a
cast.
mascot. I don't control anything at Twitter.
All the little
passed,
J-beards on
I
Bluebird.
cast speak with animals.
Okay, yeah, so you do just that. I'm one of the bluebirds.
Send the message that Boris has helped me to develop.
And it takes it. It can repeat it back to you, and then
Send it off.
it flies away.
Got it.
You would think that they should have that. Just the way a bird flies that way. They'll have it within the hour. Maybe
Nice.
within 2.
I just think to myself, it's always like, is it Dr. Doolittle style of talking with animals? Does she just speak to it in common? We understood what she said, but when it retweets, when it repeats the message back to us, it's just tweet, 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 tweet.
One or the other.
And she's like, yes, perfect. It flies off. We're like, no, it just.
So it's on you, Jacob. Do you want to? Which one of those 2 routes are you going to go by?
I want to
Heading
go by
due
that.
east and then to the edge of the mountains, then taking the mountain south, or south through the hills of the Brimroar and then up into the mountains.
I think I felt like the directly south one was a bit more direct, correct?
It would be. To
Okay.
have to traverse those mountains at the edge of the slag mark, that's a lot of up and down and around.
I share that with y'all.
that
It's more
sounds really
direct. There's
bad.
more hills, but it's more direct. I don't know if it would be any faster, though, because of the treacherous terrain. You
Well,
guys have any?
hills are better than mountains.
And I think the bugbears lived in the mountains. Let's go to the hills.
Why, you don't think we can take them?
I know I can, but
But
I don't know
you,
why I said
you
that. I
do
thought
think
that
it could
myself.
take weeks to get down there. It's really, really
Either
far
way,
away.
yeah.
So yeah, and it
I-
might even take months if you went by the mountain route. But
I vote
definitely
directly
weeks.
south.
Okay.
Yeah, hills.
Yeah, so
Great.
go ahead and roll your survival check.
11.
Was there any benefits from being around here? I recall like stuff to, I want to say charisma and wisdom stuff.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were the effects of this place?
Go ahead and roll that with advantage.
Read. 11.
No, 11 was enough. All you need with a DC 10, I wanted to see if you could see your first landmark
Okay.
and start heading in that direction. So you're leading them out.
You have to go back in and climb up the
Yeah,
spider.
go back up all the way.
Come back down and out.
What'd you name your spider? It was like Jeremy or something? Yeah, oh, Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy.
That you start walking in that direction and you're
Hello, boys, I'm back.
you're almost immediately, well, you're into an area you don't know anything about, but you can see to follow to that point, instead of something flat heading like up one ridge and down the next ridge, that you recognize you could follow the contours of the land a little more than that. It might add time, but be an easier trek too. So go ahead and make 3 survival checks that you're maintaining this for this first couple of hours.
I don't recall us ever saying it out loud, so I'm going to say it now. We picked up our gear.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the first thing
somebody
I did, I
said
guess.
they even put their gear on. Yeah, somebody said that. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I can't wait to hear how we're wrong in the comments.
Of all times to like not be like, oh man, I wish I'd brought my map making tools because this would be perfect. Uncharted territory, these maps would sell. First one is a 22. No, that was a 21. There we go. Second one was a 14, and the last one's a 17.
Yeah, so you're doing very, very well. Following the contours of the land, the trees, the hills, everything's about the same it's been in this area. It's very, very Brimroar, thick woodlands with a moderate amount of undergrowth. And then when you hit a creek, you're crossing a creek, a lot of rhododendrons, a lot of plants like that. But then you get into a section where you're on the side of a ridge, and it's very rocky going as you're moving, but it's taking you in the right direction. You guys are probably moving a little slower than what you would have been otherwise, but you can see that if you can follow the shoulder of this ridge around, it should take you to a valley that should reach, or rather direct you very well toward where these 4 massive peaks are, some days in the future. Mm-hmm. But the course seems to be right there.
Yeah. As always, heads on swivels. We know that the enemy knows about us, and there could be any number of bandits or other nasty things.
And any sort of more difficult to cross terrain, I'll assist everyone. Like, step here, move here. Don't put your weight on this foot, come around this way, and just make sure that no one goes sailing off the edge.
After 3 hours, you come across an area, or it's just up ahead of you, where you figure that some kind of a massive storm must have come down this mountain, where a number of trees, big trees, oaks and ashes have been uprooted. And so them being ripped up and laying down as they are, it would make it, fairly difficult to walk through this area. But it's huge. It's the whole side of this ridge. And so you just have to go straight through this area. There's no way around it. But you're going underneath big logs. You're going over the top of logs. It's very slow going right here. A lot of root balls pulled up, a lot of rock moving that way.
Anyone have an idea about what could have caused this?
Yeah, can I just kind of look around the area to just really, are all the trees laying in the same area?
Your nature.
I go over and help you because I'm curious too.
Go ahead and do it with advantage then, Zelen.
God.
Look at the way the roots ball. Go again.
So, thankfully advantage.
Plus what, survival, maybe?
Just nature.
I think survival, because survival's a +6. But it'd be 9.
Probably a storm. It just makes sense that, maybe a tornado or some massive windstorm came down through this area.
Are there any mud on it or unusual bits of boulder amid the trees?
There's a lot of upturned rock. There's a lot of rocky projections in this area where these trees came down, so probably their roots weren't as deep as they would have been otherwise, and that might have been what weakened them as this windstorm came down through.
Yeah, I was thinking potentially mudslide or some kind of avalanche.
Yeah, nothing like that. No, it's not. Nothing would indicate something like that.
We don't see any giant tracks or anything like that.
And, if there's no glowing hammer or bow or, I guess, dart. You're pretty good with your dart. You don't need an additional shotgun.
Yeah, so just doing the same, stepping over the logs.
Or under.
Maneuvering, however it is.
Digging a hole under the logs.
And as you're doing just that, it would never come to you quite that much. You have to actually excavate. You go around a different spot. But it is awfully slow going. If you ever hiked through the woods, and as you've gone through the woods, a lot of trees are down. It's just tough to get through. But, Jacob, what is your armor class?
Oh, son of a... 16.
Something tried to latch onto your leg as you're stepping under one of these logs, pushing, moving sideways. And as you turn to look, something very large and snake-like, with either a weird kind of a beak or tentacles, tried to grab onto your leg. But just as you're stepping away, it missed as it was doing just that. But you can see this thing about the thickness of your own thigh now moving through the rocks and the undergrowth, and has hidden itself again.
Do a quick nature check just so I know what it is, so I can call it an exact.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it was a 20 and then it wasn't. 12.
You think it's a grick?
Okay, so I turn around. It's like, we got gricks on the ground below us. Make sure you keep your footing.
So snake-like thing that has 4 tentacles in the front of it. When the tentacles latch on, there's a beak inside that it bites with.
Huh.
And they're a known thing up in the Brimroar.
Are they generally in packs or in nests, or would you normally have more than one if you had one?
Yes, you'd normally have more than one if you had one.
So get a higher ground, standing up on a log.
Kill the thing.
So as you're scrambling to do just that way, you don't see it at the moment. You don't see that particular one with all the undergrowth. Again, the canopy is shot right here, so there's a lot of undergrowth. A lot of mountain laurels and rhododendrons, things like that. So you're not just seeing the woods. If you walked out in the woods in our backyard, you just see trees right down to leaves. You're not seeing it the same way here.
Okay.
Keep going. What?
I assumed we were rolling in and fighting the thing.
It moved away, so we know that they're in the area, but they're not pursuing us more than that.
It could be 2 feet away from you in the undergrowth, and you wouldn't know it as you're standing up on this log.
Yeah, I say defensive posture.
Yeah, I'll grab a larger stick, maybe like a dead piece of log, and I'll toss it about 3 feet from me into one of those underbrush areas to see if anything goes after it.
Yeah, so you probably actually grab onto a branch that's on the tree you're standing on, and just snap that off and throw that, maybe even spear-like down in that area. And as it does that, you see not just one, but a bunch of these things come rippling out of that area, and they're moving all over the place here.
Really wish we knew someone that had an entangle spell. That would be awesome right now.
Really?
We're in it too, but...
Okay. Or you can cast it a little further away so they catch at the
roll
edge.
Awesome.
18.
22.
17 plus something, right?
Your dexterity modifier.
20.
All right.
I rolled an 18, and I am last.
I rolled an 18 too. All right.
Okay, yes, it's going to be Zelen, Jacob, Boris, the monsters.
Nice.
That kind of order.
Completely last.
All right, so Zelen, what are you doing?
Try to get on top of a log. I'm going to cast Entangle below us.
When you say below you, it's like picture just a log on the ground. You're maybe 2.5 feet off the ground.
Yeah, but if we're all standing on top of the logs and I can cast it on the ground beneath the logs, that's where they are.
It'll affect a spherical area.
Yeah, so you'll be in it too.
So
you can still definitely do that.
If you put the center point, however far the radius is, on the other side of where they currently are attacking that stick, it'll affect them and not us.
Assuming that's the only place that they are, but yeah.
Yeah, what about a thunder wave instead?
I always vote for blasting the thing rather than restricting an area, because restricting an area restricts us too.
I'm going to cast thunder wave where we saw them wiggle and try to push them.
Okay, so go ahead. That's are you making
I can just do it,
just a
right?
save? Yeah.
So what's the
I cast thunder wave.
And what's the DC save on that?
Each creature within 15 must make Constitution saving throw. Fail equals takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet away. Success equals half as much damage, no push.
So what's the DC?
Also, unsecured objects in range are pushed 10 feet away from me.
So what's the DC for the spell level?
It should just be you have a DC.
Yeah, it's 8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
Spell attack modifier?
No, your spell DC.
So it's right near there.
Spell save DC 14.
Okay, great. You believe you have 2 of them in that area. Roll your damage.
2 of them in the area, or 2 of them that failed to save?
2 that failed to save.
Okay.
Well, they all take damage. Yeah. Those that save take half.
And then the ones that failed also get flung.
Can I have a D8?
Pull! And as they're flying through the air, shoot it with a bow.
10.
Or shoot it with an arrow.
I throw my bow.
Just straight 2d8. There wasn't any modifiers to the 2d8.
What?
Yeah.
I don't.
When you were reading through the spell, it just said they take 2d8.
Yeah, 2d8 thunder damage and push 10 feet away. But all the loose stuff is pushed 10 feet away too. So that could maybe
flatten grass,
logs, leaves, Jacobs.
Well,
but yeah, just
right. So we might be able to see them better to be able to shoot at them.
All right, yeah. So and it does just that. You definitely injured 2 of them fairly severely, and then the other 2 to a lesser degree. And as you do that, there is a lot of brush and leaves and whatnot that just whooshed out of the way too, in a fairly large area, exposing the rock that's underneath of this. Some churned up, some laying still. Those things are positioning themselves to attack all of you up on that log. But then you can also see, with all that stuff stripped away, that there is movement in the ground itself. And I'll describe what happens with that after we go through the rest of this round.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so Jacob, you're up.
Is there a clear shot now with all the underbrush that's been cleared up?
Yeah, you have a clear shot.
Awesome.
On one of them.
Attack whichever one is closest to me with the bow, shooting at it. Natural 20.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
They are not undead.
Oh, thank goodness.
Well,
Right.
that's a 3.5 reference, given undead are no longer
true.
immune to critical hits.
Oh, that's no fun. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. 9, 4, 13 points of damage.
Roll a foresight. Let me know which one of these guys you were shooting at.
I got it. 2.
And how much damage?
14.
Wow.
13. But still.
That was one of the ones that were most injured by that
Thunderwave
spell that Zelen cast. And you believe one of these things are killed.
Nice.
Well done. Jacob, you're up.
That is me.
I'm sorry. Boris, you're up.
Micah Matt. I cast Wrathful Smite as a bonus action, then move to engage with the nearest hostile.
Okay, it's within your range. Go ahead.
All right.
You're against one of the ones that have been less wounded.
Goody. What's its armor class?
It has an armor class.
Good to know. That is a 15.
Hits.
Nice. 9 points of physical damage and 6 points of psychic damage.
Wow.
Whoa.
Like, is there any kind of a save on that psychic damage?
There is no save on the psychic damage, but it needs to make a save for something else. Give me just a second. Your DC is 13.
Okay. What is it? So I know what modifiers are.
It's a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of me for the next minute.
So the DC is 13?
Yes.
Makes a save.
Neat.
And it doesn't have time to be frightened of you because it's dead.
That works.
It's terrified right until the moment that it dies.
Yeah, it terrifies all the way through the sword.
Jacob, you're noting, even at this point of the combat, that these, though they are Grix, they seem like they are smaller than the Grix you've heard of, which are a much, much larger creature, that for whatever reason, these seem to be either immature, young, or a different variety. So they're not quite as kick butt as they would be otherwise.
Have a nature check to know if they, at this age, are still around their parents, i.e. a larger mother or father.
Make your nature check.
A 16.
You do know that they tend to be allowed as they get larger to go further and further afield from their parents, but not beyond a certain periphery. A couple 100 feet is usually the max that they would go from something like that.
These are just the youngings. Keep a lookout for mom or dad.
Okay, so I know my religion doesn't permit me murdering babies, but does it allow murdering baby monsters?
One of the Grix is attacking you, Boris, armor class.
I've got an armor class.
Yes,
It's attacking my armor class. Oh, it's not attacking me. It's
We'll just assign a number.
Hang on, let me track it down. 18.
Wow. Your armor
You're right.
hits.
Yeah, Mr.
Whoa.
Armor might.
And this thing is striking you with its tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's done that, it will also get one of its beak attacks. But first,
Neat.
the attack with the tentacle, it does 5 points of damage, and it's attempting a beak attack on you.
All right.
Again, same armor class, same plus to hit, and it misses with the beak attack.
Good.
The next one, the last one of these four, is attacking Zelen. Zelen, what's your armor class?
14.
It misses you, Zelen.
Neener.
All right. New round, Zelen. Neener, you're up.
I use my bonus action to taunt, which is probably
I'm
going
gonna
to
throw a dart.
You're in melee combat. You're rolling at disadvantage with ranged attacks.
So it'd make much more sense
So
for
I'm
you
going
to
to
use
stab
that.
it with my dagger or hit it with my shillelagh.
Yeah. Casting Shillelagh, I think, is a bonus action.
Yeah, so you
I
can
don't
just-
recall.
This is magical now.
Cast it and go, yeah.
Magic stick.
Power
Yeah,
up.
its time is 1 bonus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so a bonus action.
Okay,
could-
so I'm going
It
to
happened.
cast shillelagh and then hit
Clonk
it.
with said Shillelagh.
All right, yeah.
Then clonk.
That all is a good plan. Go ahead and do.
Pull the lever. Clonk.
17. Do I get a plus with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's your
Do-
proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier.
Someone's been doing research.
Plus proficiency bonus is a 2.
And then your strength
Plus
modifier.
strength is a 2, so that's 4. So that's a 21.
Definitely
Unnatural.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the 17 hit.
The 17 hit
Yeah,
all by
it did.
itself.
If
But
a
it's good to
15.
work through your numbers to learn them.
Yeah.
We need to add shillelagh on your list there. It's just
Attacks,
a regular weapon that exists. That
Right.
way you just have it already written out.
And I think you actually do. It's just a matter of like getting used
Finding
to
it.
finding where it
Oh,
is
gotcha.
again.
Okay, weapons damage becomes a D8.
And
So
then
then
plus
it's
your
a
strength
D8.
modifier.
Does shillelagh bonus the damage as well, or is just a magic weapon?
It's magic and increases the damage to a d8.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
7.
Nice.
Nice.
Well done. It is further wounded, but it is still living. Jacob, you're up.
That's the last one that's nearby as far as...
There's one on me and there's one on Zelen.
Yeah, there's still two.
Yeah, I'll take a shot at the one that is targeting Zelen. 13.
Misses.
Damn.
Got a range. It's right around right here.
Yeah.
Boris, that's you.
All right. Attacking the one that attacked me. All right. Nat 15 for a 23.
Yeah, definitely hits.
Nat 15 for a hit.
You're right.
For a squish.
For another 9 physical and 6 psychic.
Wow. And then it gets a saving throw.
Assuming it doesn't die.
But failed its saving throw.
So, assuming it's not dead, it's frightened of me for 1 minute. As its action, it can choose...
15 points of damage total, you said?
Yes.
9 and 6, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you killed the second one.
Okay, yeah, I don't need to explain my spell anymore. And I'll move to engage the one with Zelen unless I see new hostiles appearing from Rumbly Earth.
Okay, well, that's just the very thing, Rumbly Earth. Not investigation. I forget the other one is your... Perception. Go ahead and roll your Jacob and Boris, roll your perception.
15.
17.
There are more of them coming out of the ground.
Okay, well then I'll hold position and get ready to attack.
And so, Zelen, at the very bottom of the round, the one remaining is attacking you. Your armor class is a 14, wasn't it? Yeah, it misses you.
Good.
All right, so Jacob, Boris, you both note that this ground that was rumbling a moment ago, that these things are surfacing all over the place. Just as a quick count, you see a dozen, maybe 15, and there's still other places they're rumbling. You think you're in some massive nest of these things, and they're breaking through the surface.
Yeah, I call out, this is absolutely a den of these things. We need to do something about this.
Let's get out of here. Get us to a point where we can fight them safely.
Okay.
Well,
roll your survival, Jacob.
Yes. 10.
You see your best route is going to be to, again, have to fight through a couple of these things or fight past them or risk an attack of opportunity to get out of this area, but you're not sure how big the nest of them it is. Okay. But it should still take you roughly south trying to get out of here, but you're falling on the not the convolutions of the ridge, so it's going to be tough going for right now.
I see a pathway. Stay on my heels.
Take lead. I'll cover the rear.
Stay on my heels.
Okay. And
let
Zelen.
me kill this one on me.
Okay, and Zelen, you're up.
Whack, whack, whack.
I'm going to hit it again with the shillelagh. And I rolled an unnatural 24.
And you hit with your unnatural 24.
And I do.
Yeah, so we had that wrong last time.
Yeah. So this time I'm going to roll it correctly. Last time I didn't. It's a 1d8 plus 4.
That should appease you people in the comments who know the rules better than us.
Yeah.
And I roll 10 points of damage.
Slain.
Nice.
So that's it for that one right there. And you can see, as you're even doing that, Zelen, you can see right in the immediate area of where you are, 7 of these things have poked up through various cracks in the ground and around here. So
look at those teeth. Let's run.
And booking it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Following Jacob's direction.
Yeah.
As you're moving through that spot, there's each one of you are having an opportunity attack that you're provoking. So they're going to get a free attack on you as you're running past one just to get out of this immediate area. So first on Jacob, armor class.
16. I can take it.
Hits you.
Damn it.
For hurdy amounts of damage.
Hurdy? I don't have a hurdy.
For 5 points of damage. And it's attempting its secondary attack on you. And it hits with its secondary attack. Dang. When I roll well, I roll really, really well. That was a 19 natural for another 3 points of damage.
Gotcha. So that was 8 total.
Yeah. So make a dex check for me.
Oh, geez. All right. A dex saving throw?
A dex saving throw.
9.
You stumble and fall and are rolling up out of it from that attack and hit on your leg.
Gotcha.
Next attack of opportunity. Boris, this one's on you.
18.
Natural 20.
These things do not like you.
Well, currently you've been hit more.
You know what?
You wear armor. You'd think it would like blunt their teeth.
Where are you hit?
19. Plenty durable.
Plenty durable.
Don't make me do a dex check though, because I don't have proficiency on those.
It rolled. So it's this amount doubled.
You roll the dice twice.
Yeah. So it was 6, 11, 12. 12 points of damage.
Oh, Moses.
Yeah, that was a bad one. And I'm going to see if it's a secondary attack.
No.
Its thing. And it misses. So you are not stumbled by that when it bites you. The tentacle hit you, latched on hard, but you powered through and kept on moving.
Yeah, must have struck my apparently unhelmed head.
Right. I'm not sure what that thing did. Zelen, this attack of opportunity is on you. Armor class was...
Oh, crap. I left
14.
my helmet back at that lake. Hope I get a magic one. Wink, wink.
And it misses you.
Thank you.
Although it was a 20 for a second, but then it tottered back to a 2.
There are advantages to sleeping with a DM.
Wow.
Yeah, not going to lie, I was thinking about it, given that you're the only one who hasn't been hit,
Exactly.
and we've both been hit twice. And you have the worst armor class in the party.
The way you said was thinking about it, I thought, okay.
I'm winking at Zelen right now.
Great. All right. I know that was their turn, so we're back to her, right?
Right. So you guys are moving. You've gone out of the immediate area. Boris, you said your rear guard on this one. As you look over your shoulder, you can see that the whole area is seething. Jacob, you're seeing there are still some spots up ahead of you guys that are opening up. There's things coming through these interspersed cracks in the rocks and whatnot. Do your survival skill again to find the best route through there, or your movement could provoke more attacks of opportunity as you go.
Unnatural 20.
Nice. You find the very best route, so you're taking it through, and I would imagine calling out orders too.
Yeah.
Turn this way, bear to your left, bear to your left, as you're calling out these different directions for them to move just that way. Boris, you think there's easily a couple dozen of these things that are pursuing you guys from this point right here.
Good to know. Bad spot. I'm kind of disappointed we're not doing XP because all the things we're encountering and surviving.
Milestones.
Are we
curses.
outpacing them?
It's difficult to say because some are coming up through the rocks right near where you are at this moment. So outpacing doesn't seem like part of it yet.
Yeah, step one of outpacing is getting past.
Jacob has led you through the ones that are have unearthed themselves. It'll come up through the cracks in the rock very skillfully, and so you've moved through that without taking any more attacks of opportunity. Jacob, go ahead and do your nature sense.
Oh, okay. Natural 1 for a 5.
So you are so focused on them being behind you, finding the most clear route, that nothing else is even like impacting your brain apart from best route right now.
Okay.
Can I be looking around and maybe roll a survival, like to find a place that would be more defensive for us to get to?
Or to swing us further around and in the right direction still?
You certainly could. Go ahead and roll that. But roll that nature sense too, as you and Boris you and Jacob are looking more forward, where Boris is looking more behind you.
Nature sense is a 9. Survival is a modified 21.
Okay, very nice. There isn't a place that's very defensible right here. You're on the edge, the sloping part of a ridge with all these trees that are falling down through it. Just getting through and out of here would be the best thing for you. So the direction that Jacob's taking you in seems like it's the absolute best direction. Boris, as you're bringing up the rear guard, you can see that some that are on the far side of the area of these things moving have already backed off and have started to just get back to whatever they're doing. It's moved out of the area. But there are some, like as you plant your foot and you're running, there's one coming up through the stone just right there. So you can tell you're still in the area of where this thing's nest.
We're still in the nest. Keep moving.
Jacob, roll your next survival check.
Gotcha. A natural 20.
Nice.
Very nice again.
25.
So no attacks of opportunity this round. You're again maneuvering through these things as the ones that are coming up through it.
Stepping on their heads as we're going.
Yeah, really.
You're
doing
Legolas
a James
walking
Bond,
on the
live
snow.
and let die across the alligators.
What a dick.
And as you take them through that area, you're hitting about the bottom or like the cleft point between one ridge and the next as you're traversing over that one. There are fewer fallen trees. So heading in this direction seems like you could even move a little bit faster going in that direction. You're reading the topography just right. Again, Boris, you note that there are still many of them still pursuing, and roll your perception.
Jump up midair, knock an arrow. It's flaming. fire it backwards. It lights the entire underbrush on fire.
Yeah, right.
Okay, roll your to hit.
Yeah, right. Why can't I be a high-level cleric that can nuke things? Though apparently I see real good this time. 21.
There is a much larger one of these disturbances of stone about 15 feet away from you to your right-hand side, slightly down the ridge, and you think it's definitely one of the full-size larger ones.
Adult incoming!
All right, and then Jacob, your next survival skill check as you're moving up this side. And then Zelen, you want to do the same thing to see if you could find a spot that would be a better defensible position.
I call it a nuke from orbit because it's the only way to make sure.
9 for my survival.
Mine is 22.
All right, so with that 9 survival, you are getting attacks of opportunity this time as you're moving through. You think that just over the edge of this, you thought you saw for a moment before you hit that cleft in the between this ridge and the next one, that there was a level spot that had some tree trunks down in front of it, but it looks like a much more stable place you could fight from if you could get to that more level spot that's up ahead. Seems kind of cleared above it, too.
I shout that to the team, that there looks like a better place to fight ahead.
And as you're looking ahead, Jacob, and she's pointing that out, go ahead and roll it again with that.
Okay. 14.
All right, so with 14, you can see that spot up ahead looks like it's not just like clear and open at the top of that. It looks like it's maybe solid rock, like it's a much more major outcropping of rock versus all this loose jumble of stone.
They can't come up
and
underneath
they couldn't
it.
come up through it. So it looks like it's a much, much better spot to.
I agree. Let's get there quickly.
Okay.
All right. So first on Jacob, attack of opportunities. You're moving through this area. Natural 20.
I say no.
That's for the next one. How many hit points do you have right now?
14.
Plenty durable. 9 points of damage.
Okay.
Secondary attack. The bite is rolling a 15.
Yeah, 16.
Ooh. So it tried to clamp onto you. It doesn't trip you. It does hurt you, and you move on.
I don't feel good.
So Zelen, we're going to go with you next because you're like the next person in line. 18.
Oh, man.
Ooh, those perks wore off.
And that's 4 points of damage. And on the secondary attack, that's a 15. So that one hits you as well.
What's your armor class?
14.
Get better. Or like
5 more points of damage.
Wow.
She can take that.
And make a dex save.
Any chance I could give advantage on that dex save? Because I'm kind of right there to help protect and bolster. That I'm helping to catch her.
Make a dex check for me. I'll give you a DC.
That's a natural 20.
She doesn't need it.
Well, never effing mind.
Here, take my hand. Steps on it.
It hits you in the leg. It bites your leg. You go into like a flip roll, come up, and you're still running as though that just didn't bother you at all.
Why do I even bother?
Just so we all know, I have 2 hit points left.
Ooh.
You only got hit once.
I don't have a lot of hit points.
Holy crap.
Boris, the attack of opportunity on you.
2 and 7.
14. Oh, wait, no, I did that wrong.
Yeah.
5. I have 5 hit points left.
And you're at what, 2?
7.
7. Rolled a 9. You have an 18 or something?
Correct.
Right? Yeah, misses. It misses you as you move out of that area.
I like how just for a moment, though, he was like, roll a 9. Does that hit? Like you were thinking, just maybe.
Let me do the math.
I put a 5 in my dexterity.
That was a different monster that had a plus way too much to hit. Plus 9 to hit. Jacob, make the next survival check.
Can I help him?
To get through that.
Can't she? I don't know. I got a 12.
Yeah, you're both focused on what the thing is there. You look at the same
I got a
stuff.
natural 20 again.
Is that?
Yeah. I was like, who was giving advantage to whom? I think you helping him and he gets advantage. Doesn't mean you're rolling it yourself.
Oh.
But
I mean, I'll roll again.
You said we were both doing it.
Holy crap! Nice!
Zelen gave Jacob a natural 20 somehow mystically. So Jacob finds a spot that takes you right through where the ones that are still moving into intercept. There's no more coming out of the ground. Go ahead and roll your nature sense, those of you that have it. Boris, you see that there are a few of them are pursuing at this point.
19.
9.
So with the 19, you're fixated on the best course to get up to that level flat spot onto the rocks right there. At 19, you are pretty sure you're out of the nest, that you're no longer into that spot there.
Where's the giant adult one?
at least half of them, Boris, maybe a little bit more, have broken off the pursuit.
Is the adult pursuing?
Yeah, you can still see where this thing's come up through the ground, and it is still visible on the surface coming in this direction.
We've got about half the nest and the adult incoming. Form up, heal if you can.
How close are they?
The nearest ones to you are only like 15 feet away, 10 feet away.
Okay.
It varies as they come out from under a rock or a log or something.
Do we have like an action each so we can heal? Because I'm very aware I could take maybe a hit.
You think at the end of this round, Jacob's already led you through that you're not going to be getting attacks of opportunity on you until you get to that platform or that level area behind the log.
Not the question I was asking.
Okay, what are you asking?
If we're there to our secure position, is there a round between us, us forming up and them arriving so we can heal ourselves, because I can't take a hit?
Oh, yeah, you believe you would have time when you get up there that the first course of action is to get yourself stable.
Copy.
Yeah.
We're not there yet, though?
No, well, and you're there.
Oh, okay.
So this round, you get there. So because again, Jacob rolled that, so you guys could get through those. So you get that. The two of you out front, Jacob in front. You vault up over these two logs that just how they've fallen, or it was a double tree, have formed a natural wall between you and the stuff coming from the line of the pursuit. And it is a large outcropping of rock. It's fairly flat up here on top. Some trees might have been there, been uprooted, blown off, but some trees grow out of it, but very strangled as they've grown in the thin soil or just lack of soil. So you hop over that, and then Zone's right after you, and then Boris, you get to the thing, you step over it too, and it does feel so like you just came inside and closed the door compared to where you were before.
Mm-hmm.
So look around. Can I cast Entangle? If I cast Entangle, will it trap us here?
We can continue on in a direction. It'll catch a lot of them in the field of effect. I say do it.
So I'm going to turn and cast Entangle.
All right, perfect. So your DC on that, we said was a 14. It was 8.
Yeah, that sounds it.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 14 sounds right. So let me roll those
It's the same
saves.
for all your spells.
So she's casting that spell as like this between the start of a new combat action. Boris, what are you doing?
I'm using Lay on Hands on myself to heal.
Okay, go ahead and roll that up. Jacob, what are you doing?
I'll actually use Cure Wounds on myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't roll anything. It's just an amount.
It just does it, yeah.
Max.
Nice.
So that was 11 points healed back.
Woo. Gotta love them spells. All right, so go ahead and read your Entangle spell, just so we can hear all the parameters to it, Zelen.
Grasping weeds and vines sprout from the ground in a 20-foot square starting from a point within range. For the duration, these plants turn the ground in the area into difficult terrain. A creature in the area where you cast the spell must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained by the entangling plants until the spell ends. A creature restrained by the plants can use its action to make a strength check against your spell save DC. On a success, it frees itself. When the spell ends, the conjure plants wilt away.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let me start rolling those saves.
The next thing, once they're entangled, I was thinking about casting a poison spray.
Yeah.
Does that target multiple, or is it just one?
It's, hold on.
It tells you like the
You
range.
extend your hand toward a creature you can see within range and project a puff of noxious gas. The creature must succeed a constitution throw.
Yeah,
just
I think,
a creature.
Yeah, anything that keeps you out of combat, especially with your lack of hit points, is wise. So the more you're doing ranged stuff from behind us, the better.
Okay, so I'll cast that.
If you do have anything that does AoEs right now, since they're all in that area of effect.
Actually, yeah, produce flame and just chucking fire into the middle of it. They might not be restrained for as long as it ignites, but you could just start a fire and hurt them all.
Yeah. In a ranged spell attack, on a hit, target takes D8. So the poison is D12 if I want to shoot it at the adult.
He's just saying if you cast what is it?
Produce flame.
Produce flame.
You could light the weeds you just made on fire.
Potentially, yeah.
Right.
That you could try and ignite the place and do
damage to all of them.
Yeah, kind of a improvised area of effect.
Got it.
All right, so Zelen, when you cast your Entangle spell, the roots and the twigs, all the plants, the undergrowth, the rhododendrons, they all jump up and start grasping onto these things. And there was over a dozen of them, and you can see very clearly that half of them have been entangled. They're snared by these things. The others are moving slowly through it. They're partially entangled. but they're still trying to push through that.
Can I see the adult one? Is it tangled or moving?
It's one of the ones that are still moving through it, but moving slower through it. So as you're considering your next round, Jacob, what are you doing?
I'm going to stand back up and get to revitalize with my hit points. I'm going to get back up to that log we jumped over there, getting a higher vantage point to get a good place to shoot at them with my bow.
Actually, within the area of the outcropping of rock, if you went in the opposite direction, you could go up a little bit higher on the rock itself, and you'd be shooting over top of Boris, over Zelen, down onto these things. Would be a better vantage point than actually the log.
That sounds awesome, dude. Using that as my movement, getting up there, and actually as my action, I'll cast, what's it called? Hunter's Mark on the big one, so that way I can do a little bit extra damage to it.
Okay, excellent. So you've done that Hunter's Mark on that one, and you could so track on it. It's been slowed going through this, and then do an athletics check.
Ooh, 18 for a 22.
Excellent. So you're jumping right up there, getting into position. Boris, what are you doing?
I position myself to be in like the center of the path so that anything trying to get to either of them has to come through me. And with my bonus action, I'm casting Divine Favor on myself so I can do a bit more damage. Radiant damage, if that's...
Awesome. Yeah, so you're set in position at what seems like the most natural choke point. So, Zelen, you've slowed a lot of these things and tangled a bunch. What do you do now?
Flame on all or poison spray on the big one?
Flame on all.
Got it. I'm producing flame and throwing it down into the weeds to try to burn as many as possible.
Okay, great. So as you cast it into that area, and you can see it catching almost immediately, and all the dry and everything else, the whole place goes pretty fast. There's so much undergrowth and tinder kindling, all these plants that have come down, trees that have come down. The place just starts to go and burn, and these things are getting singed in that. There are still plenty on the inside that area that are moving. They seem to be moving off to the periphery and not coming directly for you. You think that with your actions, you've bought some time that you can be a little more defensive, prep yourself, and get yourself ready for the coming attack.